All right, folks, let's get to it. Back here for another live harmonic pattern podcast. Let's get into it for today. Everyone else, you know the deal. Get the 2 week free trial to the greatest software, period. Show me a better one. Prove it. And then, wrong link. Ignore that link I just posted. I'm going to post the Discord link for everyone interested. Join us over on the Discord. That's really where I think the entire resource community can be found. But get with the software program. Get over on the Discord as well. What's going on, everybody? Jump on in. Come on in. Let's deep dive onto some targets for the summer. I think there's a lot going on that, it's been following along the lines of what we've talked about for, I don't know, 2 or 3 months now, going in since the bottom in April. We were looking for the full return test, and now here we are. All-time new highs on NASDAQ. Big round of applause. I mean, really, you think about people jumping out of the, pretty much jumping off the cliff. And now, all-time new highs. So that just is another sign of the longer-term strength at hand. And so where are we going, folks? Big shout out. What's going on, everybody in the chat? I have to stop the show for a second and give a big monster shout out to everybody's buddy, Lucas. Everybody give Lucas a big shout out. He's listening today, home from school, learning about harmonic patterns. Harmonic Trader Jr. has begun. Hope to get him up and running and fully trading by at least first grade. Why not? Start him young. Great to see you. Great to have you, buddy. Great. I'm glad you're here with the show. Everyone else, Mr. Genghis and Wayne and David and Greg, Carthago. What's going on, Brian? Good morning. Thank you very much. You guys have enjoyed the show too. Lulis, what's going on? Where are you guys coming in from? Who's up the latest? Like, got to be some people in Australia, right? NASDAQ today up 147 at the moment. Call it 150. 22,608. About ready to go. And we got to look for some overspill immediate targets and then talk about the generational objectives. Big stuff going on here. And I think, what we talked about last Friday in our failed harmonic pattern session is to define those signals that are clear signs of strength, the predominant trend, meaning ever since this move began, we have come back up to retest some major patterns, okay, major levels across the board. Initial and secondary retests, things from the last year. Greetings. What's going on, Lulis from Dubai? Great to have you with us. The bigger picture, though, is all about this retest currently and how high are we going to go now? What's the objective? Is this the breakout point? Is this what we should be expecting for the rest of the summer? I think there's a lot really to glean from all of this. And where we are right now is we've already failed on the first attempt, the big 22,000 mark. And so the overspill move just off the initial pattern is hop level at 23,595. That's just an overspill, just aside from everything else. And then again, where is our confirmation? This is why anybody that's in here that doesn't have the software, I can't stress enough. You are missing out. And I offered it's going to run till the end of the month, just a 10-day promotional 20% off to get with the software. I'll post that code in a second, but it's because of proprietary indicators like Harmonic Strength Index, still in full control. Then we have amplified RSI. Not only we talked about that last week of how successful that holding of the 50 line was, but now we're back into the zone where we can expect acceleration, expansion before any kind of rollover. Off of that pattern right now, 23,595. You're gunning for that. Gunning. 4-hour chart, still, still printing patterns, by the way. I mean, amazing. The shark that we had up here on the hourly is amazing, type 1, type 2. And if you go and look, this is something we talked about last week, of this shark. We had the butterfly 21.5-ish or so. Top end was 22K. And then what did it do? This is the bypass with the counter HSI, meaning there's the pattern, and then we have like a sideways grind. Harmonic dud, we call it. And then, you might say to yourself, great, well, where do I jump in? You off the counter signals here. We had counter bullish, and then a third one with a bullish pattern up in a bearish zone. That's strength. That's strength, people. That's how we utilize just the framework of the levels, and then you got to have a little interpretation, need confirmation, little reading of price action, but the windows are clear. And this window says, I want higher now. I don't care. I don't care that we're about to break out to new highs. I'm printing the things I need to see. Even on the weekly chart, and this was something, again, I started with on Tuesday, it's like this. We have patterns all over the place. Okay, but what's going on at the pattern? Because we've been aware of the need for a retracement since it was December, January. Okay, and we had stuff on a daily basis. On the weekly, it triggered target 1. You guys know the story. And then we've been in the return phase since then, which we've been saying retest the whole zone, if not the top end of the zone. Well, here we are. And no confirmation. So is this bypassing the ideal T2 completion point? Sure is. It's not blowing through, but it's certainly bypassing. Look, there's the bar where you completed the retest. 3 to 5 window. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where are you? You're higher. 3 to 5 window. No reaction. 2 nominal red bars, but no confirmation, not responding. And then what's that? A big fat bullish engulfing. You almost wish you could close the market right here, right now for the week, and then begin the breakout process. Not there yet, but folks, I don't think you could ask for a better recovery, especially a V-shaped recovery. And, the only question I have is that if this is going to bypass the type 2 and we're going to fail it, how are you going to do it? We're here with, looks like we're going to go back into the overbought zone, but guess what? That's going to be 2 or 3 more bars, a couple of more weeks higher to go into the zone, maybe roll over. I mean, you are what? You're probably 4 to 6 weeks away from even the possibility of triggering any kind of counter signal. I also been saying that there's nothing between 22,000 and 23,000. Maybe we move that up to 23.5 for this immediate move. You're 22.6 at the moment. Like, how high do I think that's going to go? Are we going to take out here on the futures? We did it on the index above 22.9. It's a stone's throw away. And then the bigger picture is that, okay, what's this? What is all of this going to lead to? Because here we are, perfect V-shaped recovery. There's no W formation that would even suggest retracement. We're at the 886, annihilating that, and then what? A brief pause, whatever, grind higher. And so the 113, which is the next level above us, is 23.7. And then beyond 23, 24, guys, just know there's nothing till the 1618. That's what's at stake. It's not going to be this summer, but, come January, December, January, that's where you could find yourself. Amazingly, things are rocking. So be aware that that's not only that's the those are the levels, but that's the structure. The structure is V-shaped recovery after massive butterfly type 2. I mean, some people have asked me, well, why wasn't this a type 1? I mean, it was so close. T1 was not, target 1 was not hit, but you did have the 1-2 test. A lot going on. I mean, just significant structural developments. The other thing I've been saying is that we needed to see a very strong June, week over week continuation. And like I said, can we finish the day and the week right here? That would be best. Or maybe even just pump it tomorrow, close at all-time new highs. And then our longer-term assessment, folks, this just continues to be the plan, period, in your life. Let me get a better chart here. Go just NQ straight up, not the micro. But this is the underlying thesis. Okay, that we're in this. It started 10 years ago or more, but we can really say it's like that. All right, and that's your job. Your job is to ride those train tracks to profits. That's NASDAQ. I'll pull out the targets, I think, for the Qs and the SPY, but this is our general assumption for the next few years, okay, within that constraint. With the last sell-off back in April probably being, I don't know, the best opportunity since the 2022 low. And if this really is what I think it is, then going into a 1618 advance is not going to be a problem. And I'll show you why. There's just a number of individual things that I see here that are just demonstrative. But you're respecting price action. We don't have any major signals on this chart above these levels that say, hey, I got to be concerned. But look, you had the first leg there. It was almost a perfect 618. 2022, all the way up there. You started at 2022, it's 12,000. Yikes. 12,000 up to like almost 23,000. Call it 10. 10 plus. What's the low down here? It's 16.8, 17. I'm just going to project a simple ABCD 1618. That's how you get there. That's how you get to 26.8, 27K. And that really should be set off in earnest. I think, we're going to probably clear out this 23K and then try to make the assault at 25. But just understand, like, this bigger wave is related to the 2022 market up to the 2024 peak, if that was it. December, perfect 618 retracement. And then the candle itself is just so clear that something changed there. Whatever this retracement was, that's all it was. It was a quick harmonic 618 retracement, which sets you up for perfect symmetry, ABCD up to the 1618 extension. Call it 27K. 27K, kids. We're not, 22.6 is great. It's been an amazing month or so of some incredible stocks moving. But within the context of the longer term scenario, that's what the weekly is saying in a major way. The other thing to consider is that we get this move from really the AB, which started back in October 22, and you go to December 24. So that leg was 25, 26 months in duration. Project 26 months. on a 1-to-1, meaning the same amount of time that that took, okay, and distance is a simple 1-to-1 ABCD. 26 months and gets you to 2027. But if we're really strong, and this is common with a lot of CD legs, you do that CD move in like half the time. So projecting it off of here, go 12 months, 13 months. Call it by next May. And an accelerated 1-to-1 projection, it's not crazy. You're talking 20% from current levels to get to these targets. I'll say January. All right, summer targets, you get to this 113 area, it's 23.5, 23.7 just for this first thrust. So be aware of that. That's the big picture. Those are the big targets for NASDAQ. And it's firmly control. S&P, okay, check it out. Consider yourselves watching history. We have hit, it's amazing, but we have hit the hop level, 6180 right now, today, guys. S&P up 37. 6184. Hop level was 6179. Day one, week one of the type 2 hitting the hop level. Perfect crab pattern. Okay, what should happen? What should happen if it's really strong? You bypass and go well above into what I would say is more of an accelerated move. All right, so 6180, we literally just hit that. We started the show. Look at your confirmation. Weekly, going back into the zone. A lot can happen from this HSI 85 reading. 88.6 is the overbought minimum. What you're looking for is a push. 2-3 weeks. A lot like what we saw back here. You go back to 2023. It's like you're here, folks. You're there before a rip tearing run. 8 weeks, 10 weeks, just demonstratively bullish. All right, and you're not even overbought in terms of amplified yet. That's how I know. How would another 6 weeks rip it into August? Like I just think we're there. You're doing it this week with a massive bullish engulfing off the last candle. Like, well done. I mean, it's been a beautiful pattern, and we will still be measuring this pattern even after it fails. What I think is going to happen is we're going to poke this. We're going to push it through. Okay, I'll show you why I think 63.50 is a pretty good number to be targeting. But we'll probably do something like this. We'll probably come up, and then maybe this fall have some kind of retest like that. And the thing we would want to see after we do this nominal topping is we get, like, later in the year, some kind of oversold signal against that, bullish HSI against that bearish hop, and then it just goes. This too, for projecting 1618, we're going to go into a 1618 price discovery, meaning natural growth cycle projected move of a 1618 advance of the last correction. All of that gets you to like 7K. Now, currently 6180, 85, 7K. Not a big move. I mean, look, forget about March and April now. We're looking about price discovery, pump it, get us higher there. It probably goes when they pass the budget, guys. I think it's, that's the green light. I think that's the green light everybody's waiting for. Get this big, beautiful spending budget approved. And then people will say, okay, it's on. Nothing changes. More spending, more debt, more paper, more money printer. And for goodness sakes, if they are able to remove Powell and get a new Fed chief in there, I don't care who it is. maybe not Gensler, but anybody else. I think that you're looking for catalyst here, guys, and it's a hell of a place to be looking for catalyst. It just if we're looking for a catalyst to the market, and I think the market is still really not embracing these upside possibilities. I see guys that are, I don't know, there's this guy, this younger guy, I give him credit for trying. He's been looking for a recession for 4 years, telling us why. I don't know, he's got like a 500,000 subscribers and he's all these really fancy economic charts. It's a great presentation of total garbage. Completely misses the point that if you're going to be able to continue to expand debt, continue to have this mandated government spending that only drives the markets. It is a direct correlation. More debt, more government spending, markets go higher. I like that roaring kitty for Fed chair, maybe. But that's where we are. And again, I think I got a little blowback for saying that stocks over crypto, but guys, stocks over crypto, and I don't lump Bitcoin into that crypto narrative. Okay, Bitcoin, and I've always said this is a Bitcoin cycle, but now I am firmly in that camp of saying, okay, Bitcoin is not crypto. Crypto is everything else. Bitcoin, it's its own thing. And I'll still chart it out and I'll still look for, the levels, the swings, the retracements. But how are you going to get to the promised land in the next 2 to 3 years? You're going to buy stocks. You're going to own stocks. Trade them, swing them, hold them, but you're going to own them. All right, because at the end of this cycle, you're either going to own or get owned. Because where we're headed to with this kind of, it's to me the early signs of a melt up are there. So you guys know this 1618 level. All right, I'm just going to do a quick, super quick kind of update from our January session. And that January session's available on the Discord. So hop over there. But this is it. Okay, we're here at the hop level, 61.80. That has been the upside objective. We hit that today. Now what? How much higher are we going to go? I would expect that, we'll probably pierce this stuff, have some follow through move, but another month or two up here and beyond these levels, we're already scratching it of the larger possibilities. And it's also kind of I would say starting after today, after this week, certainly with the new month, you're going to look for a change in character. Where can we accelerate to a 2618 off of that deep crab? Like that's done. The deep crab served its purpose, and now we're on the type 2. Are we going to fail it? Because above this, above 6,200, and I'll get to 6,350 in a second, there's nothing till this 68.7K level. And for the cycle, and this fits with what I was saying in terms of a 2-3 year forecast, at the beginning of the year, before the bigger retracement, I was like, I said, look for a 3618 advance after we get through that pattern, and that's like 8,000. Now that might take till 2027 or beyond, but based off the pattern and the fact that we are still firmly in this long-term bull trend, nothing changes. Be aware of that. I just think the only problem I see with the current markets, people chasing crap, not junk. Okay, buy junk, not crap. There's a big difference. You want to play a turnaround play or something that's been beat up, like an AMD or some of these others looking for turnaround. That's one thing. But buying crap, which is meme coins and other things like that, I just again, I take that money and get on some of these trending stocks that are going to continue to go higher, or Play stuff like, okay, I posted this. There are a number of these plays out there, hot IPOs, internet related stuff. This was Circle. I posted that. I started buying that yesterday. Bought more towards the end of the close, down around 200. Yeah, it went to 195. I don't care. This is a hot stock trending. These people are running this thing. I'm looking for 250 on this first move, and then we'll see. But it's a perfect example. This is a second entry off of the last one I talked about. I don't know, it was 10 days ago. Admiring this thing, and then 152 up to 220, went almost 300. This getting back in where it got out. But and then there's others. I mean, there are plenty of phenomenal markets that are just going to continue. Cisco, guys. I mean, this is just look at this. That's a weekly, and it's a shark. Okay, I mean it was 52. Now it's 70. A little overextended at the moment. I think we go to 71, but this is what I mean by these will continue. All right, that's just remarkable. Continuing higher on a rope. And as long as I'm going to keep spending and all of that, this continues. All-time new highs for Cisco are coming. 81, 82. That's a big deal. Keep another, yeah, a couple others. Yeah, that well, I'll get to that in a second. QS and QSI. I'd made a mistake on those. I mixed them up, but they both ran since Tuesday. I'll get to that in a second. But guys, this is just massive. Robinhood, guys. I've been saying Robinhood for a while. This is Palantir. Before Palantir went to 120. Palantir is now 145. Robinhood goes to 105, 107, 110. And I got to look at Palantir too, because we have a pattern up here. All right, and it's a shark right at 141. Is this just going to bypass it? Remarkable action. There's no response off of that pattern. Zero. I mean, Palantir is probably the greatest new technology performer. I just get the feeling that it's like, you buy in Google here 10 years ago or 15 years ago. That probably doubles. Someday, no, I'm not saying this second, but there are a number of these. I'll tell you the other one. Nvidia, guys. Who would have thunk it, right? All-time new highs on Nvidia. It just continues. This is another massive play on the continuation trade. Continuation trade here of expecting this channel to continue. The channel that really started amazingly at 13. You're up 10x in 2 years. Nice job. But that trend channel continues, and I'm still of the opinion that I've been saying this since August, that eventually we do a 1618. It's kind of like that. That's 188, 190. It doesn't stop. It's going to keep going. So, there's a ton of these. Look, Microsoft, really, I've been impressed, and it just continues to impress. Whatever that retracement was at 350, look out. Because this thing just took out. A lot of people were calling this a head and shoulders top. It was, oh my goodness, it's been sideways for 18 months. No. If that was a head and shoulders top, well, it has failed. And this is going 1618, monthly there. What it did for you is on a longer term basis, okay, the retracement from April let out all of the steam that needed to come out. And now this thing can fly again like it did back here 2022. It really 50, which is a 1618 extension. 268. Mm. So 268. Mm. So capabilities to be a multi-trillion dollar company. It's only one. Nvidia almost four. A lot up here. I gotta say I'm impressed with AMD. I am really impressed with the recovery on AMD, and AMD just does that sometimes. It can get into a nasty drawdown. That was 80. Now we're 145. We're at target one, but still no dot. But the bottom line is the SOX, the semiconductor index, which I said would be leading, has been leading the whole time. The SOX is I'm impressed because the SOX stocks definitely have been on fire. And we're back up here, going to all-time new highs. But remember the monthly scenario. We have massive patterns, and we have levels that, just like S&P, this puppy wants the hop level. That wants the hop 6145. That's another 10%. This is how Nasdaq's going to get above 25 and close to 27,000. Mostly from what's going to happen probably in the Mag 7 and then the rest of the semis. So play it like that. I think the Sox, this summer, they're going to continue to run until we hit those targets. It just is, stuff's impressive. Realize where you are, folks. And I know you crypto maniacs, come on over to the other side for a little while and enjoy some gains while all your other crypto stuff just goes nowhere. I mean, yeah, maybe that big Bitcoin breakout's coming. Grab a piece and sit on it. Meanwhile, this stuff's happening. And it's big. I mean, it's not, you don't have to fight it. Things like, here's something recovering, Upstart software. Okay, now 62. I'm looking for the possibility, can this get out of its own way and get up? Get up back to 88 or 100. So I'm liking what I see there. Just bring it on a 4-hour chart. All right, it's kind of like that. The last signal was here, which was about a week ago, around 53. Now you're 62. We want these kind of situations. Why? They do their advance. They have the retracement. They go again. Lower highs. Excuse me. Yeah, Coin and Connell. That's right, Tony. Connell, we were talking about that at 15, 20, 25, now 51 at target 1, 53 actually. This is what's happening to your stock market. This is what's happening when we're not allocated. We're sitting in crypto. And believe me, I was doing that until about last week. Moving it over. 1 second. That's it's just looking at the trends, looking at the action. I want to be clear on that, and I don't think that's going to change. Hey, maybe crypto explodes. Maybe it explodes this fall. But in the meantime, between now, you got the end of June, July, August. We'll see some retracement, summer peak. But until then, I mean, jump on in here. If you want to play crypto, jump on the stocks. Someone wanted MetaPlanet. I mean, that's up 700%, whatever, 500%. I can't really jump there. I mean, that did its run. All right, maybe you get a dot here. You would need a dot. I don't have any patterns up there, but I mean, I think maybe look at MicroStrategy. Is this going to make the next acceleration move? Eye on it. Maybe target 1, 353. But I'm still, look, I'm still long things like Taiwan Semi and Amazon, and it's just a matter of time. Taiwan Semi's up here, 225 now. Okay, I started that at like 170. 180 was the first target, was the first entry, and then confirmation was like 170. Yeah, it got overspilled down to 130, but that was whatever. I'm projecting it forward. Go for the next 1618, and if not, just break out and continue. And Amazon still looking for 230. Nothing gets hurt there. I mean, it's 216 right now. It's 230. That's all. Taking its time. Okay, the 231's the XA level. We'll get there. But other things that are moving, things that have caught my eye, that I want to desperately be jumping on continuation plays, even like ASML down 20 today, great. Break it down to the 4-hour chart. Look for more stuff like this. Look at the last several dots. I mean, I'm showing this specifically, but I'm also showing this, for any of these trending markets. One and two and three opportunities just in the last month to jump on this and catch a continuation move. 5, almost 10% off of the first signal. Yeah, I agree. What's up, Wayne? Yes, ASTS. That that falls into the list. I mean, and ASTS and Rocket Lab and Qubits, and some of them are pausing, others are accelerating. But this is happening. Rocket Lab 35. But this is happening. And this is the type of environment those stocks will run. Um, Even non tech related. I like the Celsius Holdings, the energy drink, and Monster Beverage. Um, yeah, you put in a dot yesterday. So, I mean, it's a little overdone for sure. But I'm just, as an example, things that are moving, they're pretty clear. Things that are not moving, they're clear too. Avoid them. Here's ARM. Maybe get to 178 on that move. I mean, it's kind of late. Versus something like, all right, here's a crypto play, guys, that went up all the way back down. Where's the dot? Like, I didn't catch any of this. People started bringing this up about a month ago. Where's the play? Maybe 4 hour. We've got something here. Gartley. Could look at that. I need to see confirmation. Not yet. I mean, that's a massive, crazy speculative play. Come all the way back. Is that going to come all the way back, like 786, like 13 or 15? Don't know, but I'll start looking here. That's moving, and I mean, that was moving, but versus like a clean spark, which has caught a bid, but again, get real with the weekly. People are still asking me about the miners. The miners. Well, yeah, maybe someday this works out, but that's, you're going to be spending a lot more time waiting for that market to turn around than some of these others. Just choose carefully and make that distinction. Yeah, amazing. Now, and I said the solar stocks, guys, just because they got crushed. Look like they're trying to turn around here. This is First Solar. Um, was that the one? I'm looking at that one. I like the fact that this has kind of washed itself out. This is like Upstart, and there's several of these. Okay, but we still, that has potential. We still got to break out above that downtrend line. HIMS, that was another thing where that was a massive flyer, got crushed at down 20. No, well, I see what you're saying because this would have to be the shark. It's not really getting picked up, but it would kind of be like this. Is this a 5-0 from there to there up? It would have to be like that at around 950. Maybe. Maybe. I mean, that thing has definitely taken on a life of its own. Weekly chart, not bad. It's tough because it's up 500% in a year, but yeah, I'd trigger off of like a 4 hour. Last one was a daily dot that was like $10, but you're also super tight on that. You're not going to let that go down, what, under $9 if you're taking a shot there. I think there's better stuff. I would be looking at like the larger plays and semiconductors for sure. Couple more. RKT, isn't that Rocket Lab? RKT, Rocket Companies. Yeah, 4 hour. There's a daily. Finance leasing. Isn't that Intuit spinoff? Don't know. Probably. It's a Gartley right now. Just the way to read that. Let it do its reaction. Come on back. I'm not really saying that's trending. I mean, can you really say that that's trending? Hold on, there you go. Maybe slow mover. I haven't looked at this in a long time. Yeah, I mean that's all right. But I'd rather have things trending. Give me Broadcom over that any day, or Tesla. What's up, Dales? Welcome, welcome back. Qubit, yeah, they're taking a breather right now, but you're looking for that. I think D Wave is the one we've been looking at. I mentioned Quantum Scape last time. That's run. Qubit, again, 4 hour chart. There you go. Quantum computing right there. 1660 is the last dot. I'd look at 1660. The one that we talked about last time, QSI, or no, QS. I had mixed that and QSI. Look, that ran. Remember that? And that's got mojo here. Not to mention, you did have some patterns looking left. Maybe get to target 2. Somewhere up there around 8. I think that's, we can go there. QSI was not a quantum stock, but we looked at that. And that got a nice bump too. Pretty interesting stuff. They're running. A lot of things that we've been looking at are running. Yeah. PLG, that's the platinum group. That got a big boost, right? But, I'm gold over that any day. I mean, PLG, they've got massive patterns, no doubt. Platinum's due for a move. It's not done anything for years. But I'd still go with the gold. I mean, gold's off, obviously. 33. We're still at 33.50 on gold futures. That's the big number. Just be aware of it. Let's see what happens here. Can we break out, get 35 up to 4K soon? Give it time. It's a pause area. We're almost there. Check out where the daily is. Daily's almost oversold with HSI. Last 3 times, 1, 2, and 3, they've all led to a higher move. So, in the right spot. I think the next entry is coming soon. But for right now, let's follow through with this tech. Okay, quick, over to Bitcoin. Bitcoin, and then there's everything else. So let's start with Bitcoin. What the hell is going on? Seriously, what the hell is going on with Bitcoin? Still consolidation 34 days later? Maybe. Yeah, I mean, we know the numbers. Where's the entry? And I'm going to stick with this. I'm still going to favor 93,000, guys. I want that. And again, maybe I'm going to be wrong. Maybe I'll be wrong some at on this call, but to me it just seems like, can we get this X, get like an A B C D move, some kind of A B C D, and then on the next retest, because it would fit ideally within this long-term scenario that we have a shark, it reacts, it goes to the 5-0, and then from the 5-0 at 93 and not much below, that's where you go into moon phase. That's what I'm thinking is coming happening. And I'll wait for it. If we get to 115, so be it. I'm looking for the place to add more before the bigger run. If it's whatever, 115 and a dollar. I don't think there's much to go on, and expect this consolidation to end anytime soon. Because essentially what you're saying is that if that possibility for 93 cannot happen, then you're essentially saying that the low from 72 hours ago will never be retested. Think about that. From 72 hours ago at 98,000, we will never go black below that. Because that's what I get. That's the feedback I get. People messaging me and stuff when I say something like, hey, why not just wait for the perfect pattern? And for me, that next pattern is there. Target 1, 93. I just think until then, we're going to be in a sideways range, and plus minus 5,000 at 100K until further notice. Maybe something comes along, but by the time we get that next trigger, guys, all right, we're just going to be ping-ponging this range. Is the shark a dud? Meaning, will this fail eventually? Yes, I think that will fail eventually. Can we expect rip-roaring higher prices yet? No. That's the max of what I'm saying. It's a lot of resistance, but look, it's a lot of resistance like that was a lot of resistance. It almost reminds me of what happened on the initial crab completion from December into January. From there to there, and then finally got the confirmation. It was a delayed thing. For now, I'll stick with this zone. We still made a lower low. We haven't made a new high, a higher high. You go back to June or even May, we're lower than that 6-week range. So that's, I'm just respecting the consolidation of where we're at right now. Beyond that, we'll see. That's it. That's it. That's what I have for today, guys. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on crypto in this kind of environment. Tuesday, we'll take a look, but I really want to just kind of lay out my thoughts on big targets, stocks, and this is for the next 4-6 weeks. Keep my eye on crypto, but I want to play the stocks mostly. And if we get some other setups, so be it. But right now, Bitcoin, I'm going to focus on that in terms of still following that every day. The rest of crypto, not so much. That's truth. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing Fartcoin. I'm not doing AVAX. Guys, they're not going to do anything. All right. I'll do AVAX because it's going to prove my point. AVAX was $22. Now it's 17. You got some patterns. no confirmation, no dot, daily, weekly. All right, down here, nothing. You're going to tell me, and gets back to my argument about stocks. I want you guys to win. All right, why do we do these sessions? To lay out the best opportunities and the broader market direction based on patterns. This market direction is down. It is down until we could have some several weeks, maybe 4 to 6 weeks of up action. All right, and maybe you go from 17 to 20. That's great. I'm looking from 17 to 50 or 17 to 100. That's what I want out of crypto, and that's not there. Remember, we said this about AVAX beginning of the year, that had a crab pattern. It was going to retest like the 22 area, and it failed the 22 area. There is nothing here for you folks. Nothing. I mean, give me a dot. Give me something based off the signal. I'm a signals based trader. If I don't have a pattern, I don't have a dot, I don't have a level, and I go in on something, that's guessing. And in a market that's not even moving. You had a 1 day, 2 day thing, retesting lows for the year. And even if this whole thing worked out and you went from 16 to 30, I'd rather have you catch Palantir from above 150 to 180, or Robinhood from 84 to 110, because I know those are moving. This is recovery hope. I want to be clear on that. Half the battle is not getting stuck in crap. You can buy junk, recovery type plays. QuantumScape. That is junk, becoming something that's a little more valuable than it was a week ago. But that's not crap. Big difference. There's a lot of this. And I want to focus on stuff that is running. Like here's Palantir. It's a hot stock. It keeps running. I'm not saying buy it. But if you haven't been following Palantir, you need to have it on. Because after we get through this and get above 150, there's nothing there but much higher prices. Yeah. Hope that's clear. I'm going to be doing more of that. And then, next week I'm going to probably bring back the workout sessions of the futures trading. People are interested in that. Okay, people aren't interested in crypto not doing anything. I'm not here to deliver some hopium and say, yeah, maybe this coin's going to run. They're not. Nvidia, 156, right where it is now to 190. You're going to have some bumps. I'm not saying just go buy it this second, especially when we're in a zone here, but eventually we're going to break out of that, and it's been a trending stock. It's not a fight. Okay, and that's really what I'm trying to get you guys to focus on. Other crypto may go, but riding the continuation of that long-term trend with Nvidia is a winning strategy. Trying to buy Avalanche at a multi-year low at 17 and hoping it doesn't go to 10 is not. And I don't care what it does. All right, it's absolutely been played out. Bitcoin is a different asset category. I agree with that. Beyond that, though, stocks to the promised land. Crypto, if we get into that another speculative bout, September, October, I'm the first one there. But until further notice, no. I want to focus on things that are running. I hope that helps. Target down where on AVAX? It doesn't matter. The target on Avalanche doesn't matter. I'm telling you, even if you're in it now, I understand if you're higher price and you're trying, when am I going to get my money back kind of a thing. Yeah, maybe it'll run. Maybe it'll run later in the year. Maybe this fall you'll get that pop, and maybe it goes from 17 to 30 or even 40. But are you going to sell? Because that's probably all you're going to get. Meanwhile, Palantir or Meta or Microsoft run to all-time new highs. and continue. I mean, there's a zillion of these. And Avalanche is a busted chart. It's, you know, can it hold this low? I don't even know. Couldn't hold the last July low. And how many are these? Okay, you got me. I know some people, I know Ponzi was on the fart coin thing. All right? It's going right back down. It was a pop off that first move, but it's going right back down. Fart coin. You have patterns. This is why you get the software. Okay, what's the software saying? The deep crab did the one, and then all the two almost perfectly. Did a stealth type 2. I won't even get into that. Fart coins like target 2 is 58 cents, guys. Retest terminal 80. Beyond that, give me NVIDIA all day long, please. And please take that attitude too. We want to get to the promised land. Everyone wants to get there. It happens with stocks over crypto. Yeah, sorry. AVAX is probably going to 13 or 10. But doesn't matter. When it doesn't move and stocks are going to fly, you don't want to be in that spot. Definitely. Look, folks, get over to harmonictrader.com. All right? Hit me up on the Discord. If you have any questions or you want access to the recording, I've given out that to people. DM me. Yeah, I mean, guys, the fart coin thing, it has a pop and a roll. If you're trading it, go for it. If not, don't sit on it. Any crypto I've held is down. You know, things that I've held for more than a couple weeks, they lose. And then it just absolutely gets destroyed. I'm not doing that anymore. I had my fun. I made a lot of money in crypto. Now I want to get to the promised land on that. I don't want to give any more back. I don't want to sit in sideways action. Stellar Lumens is the perfect example. But get over to Harmonic Trader. Get your TradingView trial, HPC, at sr-analyst.com. That's the place to send your TradingView username. You get set up in 2 weeks. And everything else is free to get started, so don't even subscribe. DM me on the Discord if you have any questions. And beyond that, have a hell of a great weekend, folks. I'll be back on Tuesday. We'll do more fun stuff. My goal here going forward, really fine stock hot list of the best trending markets that we want to get in on. Broadcom, ASTS, some of these others, Palantir, Robinhood. Keep running them for the rest of the summer. And then we'll do futures. I'll do a workout session, live trading. It's been a long time. I'll explain why I didn't follow through with that on Tuesday. But let's get to that. I think people will get more of that. Until then, have a great one, folks. As always, go get them. We'll catch you next week.